Hello, everybody, and Richard Rich. We meet again.
Jesus Christ. First Alpha and Omega, then Swan
So,
Princess. You
and
know
now
what?
this. We
You know
just can't
what?
escape this guy. And remember, Joe, but he also co-directed the small one, which we did for a Christmas thing. So we can't escape
Okay.
this guy, it seems.
So is this guy your arch enemy or
Oh, oh,
something?
oh, 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 okay. Let me put it for the
You
record
met the
straight.
guy.
Let me put it for the record straight. Richard Rich was not inherently a bad filmmaker. The guy is part of the old guard of Disney and did turn out some good products like Fox and the Hound. And heck, even the small one was a good production in and of itself, so...
Here's the problem, Joe. But when he was at Disney, like I said before, he was a part of a creative team, and he wasn't even the big head honcho for his Swan Princess and Alpha and Omega. So he was the actual director and sole director and head honcho.
Here's the weird thing about Alpha and Omega and the Swan Princess sequels. I say specifically the sequels because one thing those have in common is, like, well, at the very least, their first installments were, I'd argue, decent at worst, but man, the sequels eventually turned into, hello, fellow kids, how do you do? With their modern
Basically.
pop culture
And what's the film
references
we're
and
doing
how they're
today?
trying to act hip and cool.
Today, Dwebs, we're doing 1999. His 1999 remake of the Rodgers and Hammerstein 60s original classic, The King and I, because apparently we needed an animated version of this.
Oh boy, as if we
look,
didn't have
well,
enough,
hey,
as if we didn't
well,
have
hey,
enough
people nowadays-
controversies to go off of.
Well,
Yeah.
well, you know how people nowadays keep complaining Disney remake their animated films. Warner Brothers are doing something really different before all that.
That's the thing, Dwibs. This is an animated movie based off of a live-action musical, based off of a musical, based off of a real-life event, and a very, very, very
Tasteless one,
controversial
but
one.
yeah.
And
Yes.
an interesting thing, actually, one of the writers of this movie also wrote a movie that me and Pedro watched on our own yesterday.
Oh.
At the time of this recording, yes, The King's Speech, aka Tom Hooper's best movie.
Wait.
Yeah.
He was involved in this piece of film?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
writer,
David-
not Tom. The writer, not Tom Hooper.
All the
David-
same.
David Seidler, a guy, he co-wrote this and Quest for Camelot the previous year, among many other movies.
It goes
And
to
his-
show.
And his last film, or his last credited film of any note, was 2010's The King's Speech, and he retired after that.
This movie was
retired on
produced
top,
by
clearly.
This movie was produced by Warner Brothers, right?
Yes, it was.
Oh, goody! It's another.
Webs.
So it's another bout of Warner Brothers trying to be Disney animation.
Yeah,
Granted,
this was a thing back in the 90s. Remember, they were also distributing the original Swan Princess movie, actually. So this wasn't even the first time they worked with Richard Rich.
now that said, the main company at hand are Rankin Bass. Yes, I know what you're
Yes.
thinking. Wait, aren't they often known more for their stop motion stuff? Well, believe it or not, Rankin Bass have occasionally dipped their toes into stuff here and there. Oh, fun fact, actually. Did you know that a lot of people who worked at Rankin Bass would eventually go on to work at certain other studios? One of which would include a Studio Ghibli.
Yeah. But yeah,
How
no, that's the thing.
uncanny is that?
When it comes to the writer dribs, that's exactly what I've always said various times. A lot of times, writers can the work of a writer in quality can depend very much on who's creatively in charge, because these writers on hire have to do what their bosses tell them.
Okay.
So-
We've already spent 4 minutes leading up into this movie, so
So
shall we?
basically, everybody start before the Morgan Creek logo, since that seems to be the only logo that's present in every copy that we've seen. So start before that one. You ready?
ready.
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, click. Yeah, so basically, after Swan Princess Free, and I'm seeing his bio right here on Wikipedia. According to after Swan Princess Free, he decided to try this whole theatrical animation thing again with this movie. So
Okay,
should be
to give this
should be
movie
fun.
some credit, the score is good. And no, I'm not just talking about the songs, which obviously came from the musical, but no, the actual score is good for this movie.
Yeah, the score's fine.
Granted, to be fair, the best thing about Quest for Camelot was also the music, so
Morgan Creek production.
consistency. Also, Pedro,
Yes.
I'll admit, I was surprised when I figured out that a lot of people who work at Studio Ghibli started off at Rankin-Bass, of all things. Like, aren't they, like, countries apart in terms of production?
That's that's the thing, Jova. Studio Ghibli only officially got founded in 1985, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, they were so obviously. They got nothing from the musical, but and I'm sure both of them are turned in their grave when this movie.
Well, okay. To be fair, I wouldn't say this musical goes completely against the feeling of the original musical. Like I said, the musical itself is contested for siding with a bias. Now that
it was done in Saigon.
Now that being said, whereas that one was a bias, this one goes full on
Anastasia.
Well, yeah.
Introducing supernatural elements in what was supposed to be an historical piece.
And yet something about this feels more despicable than the Anastasia film. Like, okay. I guess I should get
it is.
I guess I should get the obvious thing out of the way. The Anastasia movie was good, at least, but go on to you.
No, it's very simple. The original story is simply about this caretaker, I think it's British, who's supposed to go to King Mungkut. I forgot which specific state it is. I think it's Malaysia, Southeast Asia, basically.
Yeah, she's supposed to be a caretaker for his kids.
And essentially, while the real-life events went basically with not much, interesting things going on, Rodgers Hammerstein decided to depict the whole thing as if basically kind of a wise savior story where the caretaker melted the frozen heart of a king and stuff like that.
That's a thing
that's sort of because it's based off of what the caretaker gave a story of.
The first book of that, she gave. And it was done smack dab in both the Cold War and the McCarthy trials. So take that for your conclusions.
Okay, question. Since I haven't seen the original King and I assume that the monkey was just made for the young.
Let me put it like this, Ditch. Almost everybody has a goofy, cartoony sidekick in this movie.
We have found our cartoony Disney-like villain.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, now I will say this. For as much problems as I have with The King and I as a whole, the original live-action musical was way more down-to-earth than this. Like, for example...
And even then, behind-the-scenes stuff, in controversies aside, at the very least it's a good movie on its own merits, whereas this...
Okay.
Yeah, because when Joe told me, hey, you want to see The King and I thought he meant the live-action version.
The one with Tom Felton as
also,
the kid.
How did rats come out of his shadow?
Because he's Jafar 2.0.
No, because the rats saw his shadow and they were hiding under and they were afraid.
That's the thing, though. With how the movie's animated, they literally popped out of his shadow.
Richard just can't restrain himself. That's his problem.
So here's the thing about the bad guy in this movie. See, in the original King and I musical, while he is sort of an antagonistic figure, he has a lot more reason to it, He essentially doesn't want his country getting colonized so that, traditions will be wiped away here and there, which is sort of a thing you can get. Here, yeah, he's
evil
just
wizard.
Plain evil wizard. And yeah, wizard is putting it lightly, because holy cow, does this movie get wonky. And I don't just mean the wacky animation.
Okay, can I pull a Pedro here for a moment? Disney, whenever they have the animated wacky sidekicks, they help bounce off the villain instead of just being, aren't we funny?
Yeah.
So that short guy, it just feels completely unnecessary.
And that's the thing.
That's why Disney came up with Yago. That was the whole point.
Oh god, this is stupid.
And yes, there's a giant dragon, by the way. A giant dragon is about to attack us. And for the record, no, this was not the original either.
Okay, look, this is what
this dragon's about to kill us. Whatever should we do, Jova?
Look, oh no, we're getting killed by Sean Connery? Oh no.
We sing and whistle. Okay, this also requires some context from the original musical. So when she was talking about singing and whistling, this was about how nervous she was going to, be the caretaker for the king. Here, this is apparently the battle strategy to use against dragons. Sing and whistle.
Richard,
Okay,
didn't
look.
you learn anything when you were working at with your colleagues at Disney?
It's also
So
more baffling that Warner Bros. Allowed any of this to happen. I wonder if it was generally some kind of quality control or not.
Is this how Saint George defeated the dragon?
maybe.
The tapestries leaves show a lot more blood, so I'm guessing no.
Maybe he still because he constantly stabbed the dragon.
Also, I love how the dragon is very, a good sport and allows them to finish the song while they're going.
I know, right?
I wonder if someone on YouTube has put up an edited version of what should have happened or something like that, where whilst he's singing, the dragon just burns the boats.
And mind you, this is literally the opening act. Like, Jesus.
Oh yeah, funny thing, this film was the one of two animated films Warner Bros. Released in 1999. The other was The Iron Giant.
A much better movie, yeah.
When was instead Thumbelina released?
1994.
Okay.
The jury's still out on that one.
Oh, Thumbelina has problems.
No, I'm
Don't
not
make
comparing
the
it to this, but I'm just wondering again. It was done still in a time where Warner Bros. Tried to compete with Disney in a direct way.
I was actually responding to Dej.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Oh,
But okay.
I was talking about
that
in terms
happens.
of Iron. I was talking about in terms of Iron Giant because you guys know how I feel about that movie.
See, here's the problem. Like Joe
Actually,
said,
I don't.
Remember, he mentioned about the whole marathon day, but yes,
Oh,
Pedro.
that. Go on, Pedro.
Like Jova said, the original reason for that song to exist in the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical was to flesh out Anna's character. The whole point was to showcase her character, what kind of person she is. It's your typical character showcase song that you see in a lot of musicals. And here, yeah, because it's not really doing that. Instead, it's being used as a way to defeat the dragon. Not only is it stupid, but it makes it so that the song comes across as pointless. Like seriously, because
Like, okay.
no, that's it basically. Go
For
on.
all the liberties Anastasia took, and yes, it did take quite a few liberties, at least it had something of a semblance that, at the time, we didn't know the fate of Anastasia. It was a dramatization of a story that was partially legend or myth at that point. This movie, on the other hand, is not only adapting a musical, but is acknowledging a bout of history, which is a very, very, very sore point.
Did
Yes,
I
believe
mention
so.
Thumbelina and how it was a Warner Brothers movie?
Yeah.
It's on Disney Plus around here.
Wait, why?
Because in 2002 they sold the movie to 20th Century Fox.
Oh my god.
So a movie made to compete with Disney is now owned by Disney. That's
So now
That's
Thumbelina is a Disney
Well,
princess.
so what else?
Oh,
so
wait,
what
wait,
else
wait,
is new,
but-
Jove, at this
but Tio,
point?
but Tio, Thumbelina is voiced by Ariel.
We have reached Siam, so let's see what.
Oh, that's the country.
so let's see how they portray it.
Okay, I guess to give this movie credit, the animation does feel better and more consistent than Questra Camelot's. So
No, the animation is okay. It's not great, but it's fine. It's serviceable. It looks kind of direct to video-ish.
Yeah,
if you
I
ask me.
have to admit, I prefer the one.
You know what? That's what I was trying to figure out.
I prefer the
There's
one in
something about
Quest for
that feels a
Camelot.
bit cheap to some
Yeah.
degree.
The one in
get the
Quest for
fe-
Camelot feels a bit more theatrical.
I get the feeling that, and okay, according to Wikipedia, this only had like $28 million of budget, and yeah, you can see that.
Oh, okay. Let me put it like this. I should probably rephrase it. Quest for Camelot definitely has the higher highs in its animation, but I feel that this one's animation is more consistent among itself.
Yeah.
Granted, maybe that's not necessarily a good thing given how cheap it can look at times, but I guess with Quest for
Not to mention,
Camelot, it
like,
just
you
can be
really see
very
the
jarring.
lines. Like seriously, did you notice when the villain was whispering to his sidekick, like you could literally see the brush strokes there.
Oh yeah,
Like, it looked unfinished. That particular. bit of
Unfinished animation, probably involving Richard Rich.
Oh yeah, speaking of sidekicks, the king also had his own sidekick, a panther.
Because again, Aladdin was a failure.
This is a common problem that people talk about this movie. Everybody in this movie is a bloody sidekick.
Yeah.
It's not like they serve any purpose or anything, or comic relief. I mean, might have a
See,
like 5 minutes of screen time each.
This was the big problem with movies like this and Quest for Camelot, who wanted to, copy the Disney style. But the problem is that the people who made these movies didn't understand what made the Disney formula work in the 90s.
Okay.
They just copied it on a surface level without actually understanding the nuance that was behind the surface aspects of it. Go on.
I think in a lot of ways this movie could be considered worse than Quest for Camelot. In regards to, I feel like this movie makes Quest for Camelot feel like it had restraint in how it was trying to be up for it. Oh God.
Also, oof.
Okay, what's the story here so far?
Basically, she's coming
I've got a
here.
good grasp of it.
Anna is
Basically,
coming here to help the king take care of children, basically.
Yeah.
take care, or you basically educate,
It's
caretake for his
basically
children.
a very thin disguise, the diplomatic mission to reinforce the actual relationship with the country of Siam.
Oh God, that animation frame! What the hell?
Could you even call that bit animation? Seriously, it wasn't even animated. Did the in-between animation crew go on strike?
I genuinely wonder, considering also the low budget, who major idea, which probably person in that team was the passion project. Probably Richard Rich, I guess.
Okay.
He's a director.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, so I think I'm gonna withdraw my bout about the animation feeling less jarring because of its consistency in this movie. Yeah, no, give me Quest for Camelot any day.
Also, I know I'm about to say something very blasphemous because, again, those are two art in God. I have to say I kind of prefer the prayer as a song compared to the entire repertoire of Rodgers Hammerstein music for this movie.
You know what? No, honestly, I'm okay with this. Also, that'll be a running theme. That guy constantly gets his teeth knocked out throughout this movie.
It's funny.
Lol.
It's funny, Dwebs. Laugh.
No.
Thanks, Mandark.
This guy looks like from behind. He looks
Mr.
like
Coin?
he looks like Ang if his life went horribly wrong.
Oh, so let's do Korra, Ang.
I meant in terms of his
Also,
personality. If he just became a giant douchebag.
So let's do Korra.
That's
No,
also
at best he's just negligent. In that.
that's also instead a good question because I actually haven't checked the cast. So, Dweebs, would you mind doing me a favor and tell me how many non-actual people from Siam are voice acting in this movie?
The King and I, 1999. How many what? Sorry.
I mean, the fact that there's probably not a single person from Siam voicing characters in this movie.
Doesn't look like it. No, I mean the main lead, whose speaking voice is Miranda Richardson.
For Anna.
Who's from Southport.
What about Mungkut? Who is supposed to be played by?
Mungkut.
Yeah.
Martin Vidnovich.
Okay.
American again.
At best, I will. Okay, I don't know this person. At best, I will say probably might be Russian, so at least it's closer than America.
He's American.
Oof.
And I mean, so yeah, there's some kind of plan to take over the kingdom from this guy. The problem is that the plan is poorly explained.
Yeah, there's also the thing. These.
I have to mention this. Oops. And now we're gonna meet the prince, obviously the son of the king. Who is the prince of Siam, you may ask? Come on, Rich, get to it. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Well, it's this girl first. Go on.
Sorry, I lost the characters for a second there. Just had to find them.
Oh yeah, I think it's.
Here's another sidekick.
And here's another sidekick. An elephant.
I thought you were going to say the elephant was the prince.
No, the elephant's not the prince. I think he's if I remember correctly, I think he's the prince's sidekick. Oh yeah, here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prince of Siam, Wukong.
It's kind of sad when Mortal Kombat has a better respect of, Asian culture than this movie.
And none of the creators of Mortal Kombat are Asian.
Aw, that's cute.
Seriously, all you need to do is make the hair longer, and there you go, Liu Kang.
Give him a couple extra abs, and then you're golden.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Also, you noticed probably it's the delivery also, but this dialogue has absolutely no pulse.
Okay, so these ladies, they're the king's wives in the original musical. Here, it's left ambiguous because kids
For
movie.
obvious reasons, because I didn't want to show that in a kids adaptation.
Polygamy.
But
yeah.
at the same time, it's like if you didn't want to do that, you might as well not you shouldn't have animated this in the first place.
Yeah.
It's like trying to make a kids show out of The Dark Knight. Just, what are you doing?
Or how about an actual?
Hello.
And they just showed a woman's underwear.
I thought you were telling me that this was a movie made for kids.
That's the thing. This was a movie made for kids.
In the 90s.
The very end of the 90s, but yeah.
Well, the 90s had some edge to it.
Hey,
Also,
The Hunchback of Notre Dame, rated G.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Joe. I'm still convinced that there was some
Disney money.
Strings pulling on Michael Eisner's part, to be honest
Well, yeah, Disney have reportedly bribed the rating companies every now and then to get a rating this way or that way.
So what song is this?
I don't know. Okay, I don't recall this song's name as well.
Is this Liu Kang? If Ed Boon... Okay, is this this guy's Liu Kang? If Ed Boon were even more crazy with him during the 2000s.
Well, okay, probably still better than
Like,
how it turned out for him in Mortal Kombat 6
I don't know
and
what's
7.
worse. I don't know what's worse, being dead or not being able to fight properly.
Oh, no. Oh, he actually can fight in this movie. He was just practicing earlier.
Anyway, to answer Tio's question, the song is called "Hello, Young Lovers."
Okay.
Again, all the songs are taken from the original musical. The interesting thing, The interesting thing is that apparently I'm seeing here that the producer of this movie went to the Rodgers and Hammerstein organization, who was in charge of the rights to their works, and an animated feature film would be a quote-unquote superb way to expand the property.
I mean, it's possible, but...
Actually, that's a good question. We mentioned the budget. How about the grossing?
The grossing was...
25 million budget, 12 million box office.
Oh, not even half.
That being said, apparently it was a good hit on home video.
Yeah.
But
Seems to be a
apparently
current
not
trend
enough.
with Warner Bros.
But yet not enough to greenlight a sequel, so...
Well, how would a sequel to this even work exactly?
Oh, like they'd have to struggle to find a way.
This time is personal.
I love this quote from Wikipedia about the movie. Screenwriters Peter Bacalayan, Jacqueline Feather, and David Seidler took creative liberties with the history and with the source material from the musical in an attempt to make the film palatable to all audiences in a scene where they throw women's underwear about.
Really? I mean, I do wonder.
See, here's the thing. Yes, and yes, before anybody says anything, yes, I understand that in Disney's Pinocchio movie, we even see a moment where Jiminy Cricket takes out his monocle to check out the little girl puppet's underwear. Here's the thing. You have to understand, everybody, that back in the 40s, movies like those were made mostly for adults.
Okay. To
You
be
know,
fair,
the whole animation is for kids thing wasn't really existent at the time.
also to be
that
fair,
movies, man.
those puppets were based off of French dancers. Like, that was kind of their thing. Like, okay, at least there, that was of their own volition. What the hell? It looks like that monkey was doing unspeakable things to his nether regions.
Yeah, that's another problem in this movie. There's a lot of filler. Basically, we're just on full comedy mode at this point.
You know,
I know that it's from a very old video, and the person who made it doesn't have a good reputation anymore. But this, if anything, just makes me remember that what if scenario that the nostalgia chick described once, and what if Disney made an adaptation of the Diary of Anne Frank? Yeah, would be kind of like this.
I'm totally not
Well,
staying.
Well, remember, Tia, have you seen the film called The Producers?
Yes, well, at the very least, that it was intentional. But there was actually a reason to do that. I'm talking about something that the actual producer would consider. Yes, this is good. Let's do that. 100% convinced to do it.
Again, okay, here's my biggest problem with this film so far. There's almost no story.
Oh my god, we're already 22 minutes
Even
in.
that's the thing.
It's just a bunch. It's just the characters faffing around with Ang sitting around looking like an arsehole, and Liu Kang just doing whatever.
That's also the thing, Reeves. Even in the original, there wasn't much to go through compared even to
Oh,
the Sound
there's
of
another
Music.
sidekick, by the way, the kitty cat.
Go on, Drove. I'll remember
It's
later.
not every Disney movie had this many. Disney movies don't even have this many sidekicks. The most you have is like 2, 3.
Okay, like, I really do
There's
get...
a cat and you have Hades as 2 sidekicks.
So here's the thing, when people try to capture the success of a formula, oftentimes their ideal method is, let's do what they did, but pile on more of it. That'll automatically mean more success, right? Needless to say, bigger is not always better.
You forgot the one important thing.
You have
A
to
plot.
wonder. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the problem with this movie is that most of the time, like you would say,
Bow before the savior of the 4 nations.
there's no point to any of this. Like, seriously, in the musical, at least there's an actual plot.
I was gonna say,
Look...
what story is there here?
Again, usually a story like this, at the very least, if you really want to romanticize the real life events, fucked up as it may be, at the very least, showcase something like, say, cultural exchange, which is something that this version touches, but very, very briefly.
Like, okay, I get it. It's their way of slowly but surely introducing us to the characters in a quirky way and whatnot, without any dialogue. That's nice, I guess.
Also, if you notice that no one is speaking a single line in like 5 minutes straight.
It's mostly just everybody bowing to the king.
Fucking around, yeah.
Don't you see, guys? It's to introduce them without having to use dialogue. By having it be silent, we are automatically genius, are we
This
not?
is an insult to minimalism.
I'm totally not staying, Tsundere.
No, Deji, you mentioned this is what Ang would be like in Legend of Korra.
Oh, and that's
got it.
Alexa for some reason.
That's it, Deji. If Ang hadn't died, and he was still alive around Legend of Korra, this is how he'd be. An absolute arsehole who uses his reputation
Oh.
as the guy who saved the world from the Fire Lord, to be a dick to everybody.
Speaking
Okay,
of dicks,
exaggeration
apparently
aside,
they're
not
writing
that
a letter
bad.
to the British.
Sorry, what was that, Jova?
Nah, look, Legend of Korra had problems. He would not be that bad, though, still.
Yeah, no. Aang was just a bad father. That's the worst
Alright.
you can say. But not bad as an abusive, and he's just kind of like he favored.
But yeah, there's
Wait,
another thing. There's another thing about this. Even though history proves that yes, they still had that kind of interest, this version portrays the British nation as basically these opportunistic assholes who will take any chance to actually start an invasion
So
of Siam.
So basically, Chromoholm here wants to take control so that he can start an ivory trade.
Whatever floats his boat.
Who doesn't
What
want to
does it really have to gain from
Yeah,
every
Ramsey.
trade?
All right.
Money.
Letter to the British, specifically to Edward Ramsey, whoever he is.
Basically,
The elephant sauce!
Basically, his plan is to stage a coup, which will see him eventually put as a surrogate leader when
there
the
they come.
British, of course, do their thing of taking over.
Oh, and of course it's British, so of course let's drink our tea.
Honestly, I mean, these stereotypes are not nearly as bad as what they do to the people of Siam, so... Oh,
Oh boy, more slapstick comedy.
Actually, that's a good thing. Aside from the actual musical songs, the actual main score, from who was it made?
Let me just go onto the page again. William Kidd.
I've never heard, actually.
Is that like Billy the Kid from Lucky Luke?
No. His work included stuff such as Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman,
like
Oh.
that show.
the 2000 Left Behind movie,
Have
I actually
not
haven't
seen that movie.
Muhammad the Last Prophet,
Have not seen that.
Alright, let me.
a film about the Prophet Muhammad and directed by Richard Rich,
Oh,
Ooh,
there you go. So this guy.
I don't want to see that.
and
Okay.
Return to Lonesome Dove, whatever that is.
What
Okay,
is
so
it,
let me get
Tio?
this
Will you
straight.
talk about how the poetry thing was rendered on the book?
Well, both cases, but go on, Pedro.
Is it like Okay, so let me get this straight. The British dude finds a random letter that says Al-Nine is in trouble, and he immediately turns the boat around. Oh, we gotta help. We gotta do something about this.
I guess his mentality is like, well, oh, they'd have to know her name to know she's in trouble.
Wait, is this? Oh, sorry. I was just gonna ask. Oh, by the way, you're pointing at Northern Ireland, you dumb bitch. Anyway, as I was gonna say, that guy in the middle, that guy in the middle, the Lucag lookalike.
Yes.
Yes, the prince.
I
This is
was
proper.
wondering where I was wondering where he'd gone.
You'll notice that he still has the same pants to his, but the bandana is only used when he's training.
It's that he can.
You are everything that is
I
wrong
think
with that.
now we're about to get the signature song.
To which character are you referring to,
This woman,
Dwebs?
this woman here, she is emblematic of that stupid stereotype of England as the United Kingdom. It's not. Get an education, you dumb.
Rod.
It's funny you mention that, Dwebs, because again, she's based off of the woman who arguably kickstarted this whole thing with her own, let's call it, dedicated diatribes about what her experience living with the king was like.
Wait, is this based off of a true story?
Yes,
Yes.
that we mentioned
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we've mentioned that quite a
Look.
few times.
This is such a nothing movie, so I can't remember.
Wait,
But
This-
yet, with
This
that you're actually
musical is where
witnessing.
this song came from.
You're
Yes.
actually witnessing the actual main song of the entire fucking musical. Getting to know you.
Getting to Know You was originally written by Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein, the
For some
legendary.
reason, I thought For some reason, I thought it was an Oliver Twist musical song.
No, it's not. It was
No.
originally written
is-
by Rodgers and Hammerstein.
But yes, okay. To reiterate, this is based off of a real life
it is.
event
Okay,
where,
again. Go on, Joe.
like I said, this is based off of a real life event wherein, you know, Anna, well, yeah, the woman's name was Anna, was meant to come in and caretake for the King of Siam's kids and all that. Again, she described him as a brutal leader and whatnot, except from what all other accounts suggest, he was anything but a brutal leader. Hell, the guy was a vegetarian for starters. And yes, I'm not saying all vegetarians are
Well, I'm
softies
gonna
and
go for
whatnot.
the what easy drug driver.
Yes, Hitler was a vegetarian as well. But regardless though, by all other accounts, the king was not a brutal, savage leader. But, you know, the British being the British favored Anna's testimony. But, you know, maybe things could be brought to proper bout. So the people of Siam eventually wrote a book that would be added to the Library of Congress here and there. So, you know, you'd think that would set the record straight. And that's where Rodgers and Hammerstein's musical came and smashed that hope to pieces.
Again, the timing is also kinda suspicious considering, again, it was right in the middle of the Cold War when the Southeast Asian nations were turning one by one to communism, so it makes me really wonder if America wanted to push some propaganda. I mean, not for this version, mind you, for the original musical.
And
Boy,
ye-
CL, I think the answer is yes.
So what?
And
so
in
what
case
we?
you're wondering, audience, what a Siam is basically the country now known as Thailand.
So
Mhm.
let me put it like this: essentially, what this animated movie is the culmination of biased history. And look. That's not to say that the musical *The King and I* is a bad story. No. Arguably, it's a pretty good story, but my God, it unfortunately has what I like to call the
The
Disney effect.
implications.
It also has the Disney effect with people getting definitely the wrong idea. Also, I don't
Pocahontas.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Now, I don't recall if the king was an inventor in the original as well, but I guess that's one of the few things they do to help him be not just a savage in this version, even though this version is still worse than the live-action version for obvious reasons.
Although I will say that I don't even consider Pocahontas a good movie, even on some merits, to be honest with you.
Okay, now
I've
Pocahontas...
barely seen that movie. No, I'm not watching that.
I'll just say
So,
this.
no.
Just stick with Pocahontas 2. It's way better and actually more historically accurate.
Really? I heard it's way worse.
It's both better and worse. It's complicated.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it gets more hate because it goes to the direct-to-DVD VHS stigma.
It's a weird situation that I will take a while to explain. Moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, explain it to me once we're done.
See, here's the thing about allow me to explain. As a in the original, see the problem with this so-called remake is that instead of actually remaking the original musical, instead it's completely.
You've been
completely-
outside the palace!
Oh no!
Oh no.
God.
Seriously. I was gonna say that I wonder if, an adaptation of the book that the people of, back then Siam actually wrote this Disney age might be a bit better. But searching just from considering how even something that tries to be as respectful as possible as Ryan the Lost Dragon still had trouble in its production when it came to appeasing people from the different Asian cultures. I'm not even sure at this point.
Okay. You know, they could have just made an original character to be the quote-unquote bad guy. Not this guy who's based off of a guy who was not this villainistic in the original. Hell, again, even the King and I, he wasn't this evil.
Okay, I'm gonna say even if it's what I'm saying is going slightly up, outside what my normal preferences go. But you could do what The Sound of Music did, and have technically no main given role antagonist, and more like having an opposing force of some kind. I don't know. Well, I'm just not saying an equivalent waves. I'm saying having instead like an opposing force, like for example a rebel movement or something.
Or even better, too. Like I was saying, maybe actually remake the original, which was a character-driven movie about Anna and the King.
I actually haven't seen the live-action movie, the one with Tom Felton as the child.
The original music is called The King and I for a reason. It's entirely focused on the Anna and the King and their arcs and all of that stuff. This movie, on the other hand, because it changes to the point where it focuses so much on so many things, like so many side characters that don't really matter. As a result, it doesn't really do anything. Even it has the songs from the musical, but it doesn't have the context that make those songs great.
I know we compared this to Pocahontas before, but I'm gonna say this: even Pocahontas was better than this.
I can put it like this: Pocahontas is more entertainment value because the songs actually fit the context of where they're put in.
Okay. Yeah. Let me put it like this: the songs here are all good. Of course they're good. They came from a good musical. It's just that this is a pure case of when songs don't match the context. They just, I don't know, something about them doesn't feel as entertaining. Then.
Yeah, imagine if I made a remake of Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney one,
and Hellfire plays during the opening.
Yeah, and I put Hellfire at the opening act of the movie. It makes little to no sense.
I did I played the thing that people remembered most of all at the beginning. Aren't I clever?
Remember Hellfire?
Yeah, Hellfire works because of the context it's put in. It's not just put in there for the hell of it. It's a complete payoff to the build-up of the villain up until that point.
Yeah, the King has this thing where he repeats W words, like what, or who, or where.
Also, this main character, the female, I don't know why her design bothers me. Like, she looks like a Disney.
It's the animation.
Let me put it like this.
It's the animation, Deji. It really looks so cheap.
Let me put it like this, Dej. He's Aladdin, and she's Jasmine if she were a slave.
No. I'm talking about the one I was just singing.
Oh, her. She's Belle.
He's talking about Anna, Jova.
Like I said, Belle.
Is she supposed to be Belle?
I don't know, Jova.
She looks like Mrs. Fritz from Magic School Bus Disney-fied.
Usually, Jova, I just see the main character from Quest for Camelot as the Belle knockoff.
Well, okay, let me put it this. Anna is basically a fusion of Belle and Miss Frizzle. Like, with her dress design, that just screams Belle.
Hold on. Yes, nothing has to do with tradition.
Yeah. Might as well throw in this old chestnut of true love and all that jazz.
On top of literally everything else, this movie fails at whatever political message the basic story would have was trying to do. The idea of two countries actually coexisting.
Oh boy, Cromwell Holmes about to use his powers again.
Oh man.
No, you don't need a sidekick. Everybody already has a sidekick.
Those are my thoughts exactly. Thanks, Cromwell. I can't even pronounce his name. Cromwell Home?
Oh boy, here we go.
Wow. He's literally doing a Back in My Day song.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, this guy's, but there you go, that's the ultimate boomer right here.
Does this mean that Anna is sort of the ultimate Karen, given the whole history with
up.
her?
I want to speak with your manager, and I mean the king.
Yeah, and she goes on about how I demand my house.
Oh no, King, look out! We're about to be assaulted by evil statues.
Evil CGI claymation
Can
statues.
you roar?
Jesus
You
Christ.
Just roar.
Remind me again, what year was Batman Basketball Phantasm released?
1990. It was the same year. It was the same year.
1993.
It was the same year as Batman Forever. I do remember that.
Oh, so we... yeah.
No. A Mask of the Phantasm released in 1993.
Oh, okay then. I remember. Wait. What was the? Hold on. Let me see.
Well, still, animations from like half a decade before and literally shits on this. Oh.
Now you got me imagining a Batman musical.
Wow, nothing can stop these statues. Wow, these stone steps are going wonderfully in the beat with my song.
So wow, it's a good thing these statues are incredibly slow so that he can finish the song.
But they're gonna kill him. How do we stop
They're
them?
very polite.
I don't know.
No,
Use
not
a
one
golden
more day.
eagle.
And roaring stop them. There you go, Dej. Roaring stop the statues.
Ray?
Okay,
Yes,
you know
prayer
what?
is so peaceful, isn't it? Okay, I get what the. Oh, really rich? Is that what you're trying to go for?
I hate pets.
Seriously, I know what Richard was going for there. He was going for one of my favorite jokes from The Sword and the Stone. But
Wasn't he
whatever.
also involved in The Sword and the Stone?
No. He only started at Disney back in the 70s.
The Sword and the Stone was made during the 70s, I thought.
No, the Sword and the Stone was like 68, if I remember correctly.
Let me check.
It was directed by Wolfgang Reiterman, so it was still.
Sword is still done while Disney was still alive.
I think.
I feel like that was after he died.
Because Jungle Book was at the end of the 60s, and that was the last thing that Disney did.
Oh, never mind. Sword and the Stone was 1963. So yeah, clearly, Richard Rich could not have been in that. It was too early.
Get the feeling Richard Rich tried to emulate Don Bluth. He left Disney and tried to make his own stuff.
Everyone was trying to do that. There was also that.
Okay. Here's the thing, Dwibs. Around the time when a lot of if it was during the Dark Age, it made sense. Disney were making ton of errors, and a lot of people were getting fed up with their crap. Oh, don't get me wrong, we still got some good stuff out of them, but it was clear that the company was not on the rise, per se, so they were hemorrhaging talent left and right.
Rich left after he directed Black Cauldron, or co-directed Black Cauldron.
Oh yeah, Black Cauldron, aka what I like to consider the culmination of the Dark Age. But yeah, you're right. Richard Rich technically started off in 1970 with the Aristocats.
Everyone's favorite.
And it probably started like when he's like in like 20 or something. That's a long time.
After that, he was also in Bedknobs and Broomsticks in 1971, Robin Hood 1973, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. Yeah, the Winnie the Pooh stuff. Wow, he was in a lot of Winnie Pooh stuff.
So yeah, Liu Kang finally found someone to be with since he can never be with Katana.
Oh my god, Richard Rich directed the Trumpet and the Swan movie?
Oof.
That's the thing. Richard Rich directed a lot of stuff, and most of it is not even that well known.
Oh, Pedro, guess what? Richard Rich was a producer for the Happily Never After duology.
Yes, he was. Richard Rich. This is a big problem with Richard Rich. Like Joe said, he's good. He's a good middleman. Like when he has people in charge who know what they're doing telling him what to do. That's why he did a good job with the small one, because Don Bluth was there to tell him what to do.
Oh God, he's producing the Norm of the North series, starting with the first Norm of the North movie, along with all the other sequels in production.
Yeah, thanks for proving my point, Joe. See, when he's in charge, Richard is not. He's pretty much the animation equivalent of Mark Cerny. He's not really a good creative head. Not really.
Well, actually, Pedro, I'd argue at least Mark Cerny knows technical stuff. Still, Richard Rich is kind of.
Well, okay. No, Richard Rich, I'd argue, does know his craft. Again, give him a good enough budget and some restraint, and he can turn out something good. Here's the problem with stuff like Alpha and Omega: definitely not an amazing budget, and definitely not enough creative control. Well, okay. He has the creative control, but it's more like he has no restraint in that. Although, granted, I feel like everyone's at fault with the Alpha and Omega sequels, because those are just the epitome of giving up, but we're still going, if you can make of that what you will. So, and this animated sequence is still going.
This love song doesn't work because there's zero chemistry to any of this crap, because they haven't even they've given even no personalities to any of these two, much less actually develop their bond.
You know what? I know a lot of people go against it, but screw it. I feel like at least the prayer in Questra Camelot does have the excuse that the mother is singing for her daughter's safety. Like, honestly, I never felt the prayer was a super unfitting song. It's more like I think it was made intentionally for the vocal dissonance. With the songs in this movie, they somehow found a way to make it that no song fits the context. How did they do it?
It's literally like, okay, if you're not going to actually adapt the proper story of the musical, why even have the songs from the musical in here?
This is like if we had, say, a musical of The Lion King involving the songs from Beauty and the Beast.
It makes no sense. Like, the way this is constructed makes little to no sense. In fact, it makes no sense. I will not even give you a little.
Oh no, a forbidden love.
So basically, Jovi, you're saying Timon probably would have been singing "Be Our Guest."
Well, okay. That worked in the live-action remake because that was made specifically for a gag. But you know what I mean. Like, this is like if, per se, all the songs in Lion King were replaced with Beauty and the Beast songs. Like, that's just how much the songs in this movie do not fit. Despite, being songs from the actual musical this is based off of.
Mm-hmm.
It's not funny movie.
Nope, it's not.
It's sidekick versus sidekick. Which sidekick will win?
At the very least, the clown character in We're Back for Dinosaurs in New York who had legitimately funny moments.
Also, keep in mind, when I made the Mark Cerny comparison, I was talking about in terms of Richard Rich directing and Mark Cerny directing and writing a game. Like, obviously, Mark Cerny is an excellent console engineer, as he's proven twice at this point. So
I was also gonna say, I'm sure Mark Cerny has done more for gaming than Richard Rich has done for the animation industry.
Well, Mark Cerny was also
he was a designer in Sonic 2.
Yeah, plus he was a behind-the-scenes guy for Crash and Spyro when they were starting out.
Also, he was involved with Ratchet and Clank games. I just saw recently the developers' interviews.
Also, should know Richard Rich does have some work as a music composer for some movies too, like Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Yeah, he also did some music for the small one as well, if I remember correctly.
Again. Oh my god, in addition to being director, he was also the music composer for The Fox and the Hound.
Well, there you go then.
Like, okay, I seriously do mean it like, though. I don't think we should rob Richard Rich of his accomplishments, because, no, the guy did legit accomplish some good stuff. It's just, he lost his way hard at some point.
Really hard. And that's the problem, Jova. His most well-known stuff nowadays is Alpha and Omega and Swan Princess. That's what he's mostly known for nowadays.
That and Norm of the North. Ugh.
Well,
honestly, I'm not sure everyone is remembering Norman North these days.
True.
Even if they're shitting out sequels after sequels.
When I hear people talking about Norman North nowadays, they just mention about how it's a bad movie with Rob Schneider in it.
Well, okay, I remember when Norm of the North first came out. Everyone, and I do mean
No,
everyone,
I know, Joe. I saw also the theater, posters and everything.
Yeah.
But nowadays, everyone is quickly forgotten, even if the sequels are getting shot.
It's not
by
what
the
I'm
day.
saying. What I'm saying, Joe, is that when you say Richard Rich, immediately what comes up to people is Swan Princess, Alpha and Omega nowadays.
Yeah.
I do wonder, actually. Like, I mean, they're obviously desperately continuing Norm of the North, but yeah, that one, you're right, it did kind of fall off the map of people even really regularly crapping on it.
Yeah.
I wonder, maybe it's because, unlike, say, Swan Princess and Alpha and Omega, Norm of the North can't even say that its first movie was decent.
Swan Princess also manages to have, for intents and purposes, an actual foundation of some kind that a lot of
Also,
people still cherish these days.
way
Norm
this
of the
is-
North also had Rob Schneider in it, so the odds were against it, regardless.
Go on, Tito.
Yes, Pedro? No, actually, Pedro was saying something.
The way that was animated earlier, it seems like she was about to just bone him.
Whoa, wait. Bone who? The king or the panther?
The king.
Because that panther had a seductive little smile
Okay,
on
so
his
since
face.
I haven't been paying attention much because I'm just so out of it. Yeah, I didn't want to say that because it felt disrespectful. Does she have a thing for the king?
The Deji. I'm pretty confident this movie doesn't really have a passionate fan base. I'm pretty sure you're allowed to call this movie boring. You're fine.
I know, but since we're commentating, I'm supposed to be paying attention, and that feels irresponsible.
Don't worry, we're doing it for. Don't
Well-
worry, we're doing it for you.
But yeah, Dej, about her supposedly having the hots for the king, it would be very screwed up considering how she's married. but I can see what you mean, though. The movie seems to be framing it like your typical Disney romance.
Yeah.
Except
also.
they should not be romantically involved. It's... Again, might as well ask, what are you doing, movie? Just, what are you
Oh
doing?
no, that would actually, when you get down to it, it probably would explain why the real Anne said that the king is a jerk, because they probably had an affair.
It's also
Not completely out of possibility, but you know,
Also-
can only go off of what history says. But that's an interesting
Also,
theory.
Also, we just went through cartoon cliche number 55, reverse psychology.
Yeah, basically, Anne's trying to convince the king to put on a good show for the British, who are looking to, well, come and take over because they think he's a savage.
Wait, hang on. This guy is supposed to be a main character?
Yes, he's
He's
the
the king.
king.
Well, it's called The King and I.
Well, that's the
Dwebs.
thing, though. So far, all I've seen of this movie is that he's a giant douchebag. Are you sure he's not the antagonist?
Well, the
No.
idea is that the
Dude,
idea
the
in
little
theory,
antagonist is the guy who's been trying to kill everyone with magical dragons or statues.
All he's been doing is yelling at everybody.
Well, Dwebs, here's the thing. In theory, the idea is that Anna breaks him out of his stupor and makes him a better person. The problem is that this movie's doing a terrible job at it.
No wonder I thought this guy was the antagonist.
She really wants her house.
Also insulting much, like Jesus Christ.
Don't you see, they don't like each other that much. But can this marriage be saved?
I hope not. That sounds awful.
Etc. Etc.
That's another catchphrase of his.
Also, some of those women in the background are literally frozen.
Don't you see, it's to make it seem
Not
like they're
important.
singing.
Competition.
Aw, just a little,
going, etc.
just a little more, and she do the Jacko pose challenge.
This is what can you do in the floor competition? I don't.
Why are
really
they sharing
get-
seductive glances?
Okay, hold on. Let's see if we see it now. There you go. This is the villain's sidekick right here.
Really? I thought it was the bumbling sidekick.
Well, yeah, the villain's bumbling sidekick.
I thought you said this guy was the villain. I'm like, what?
This
No,
guy-
the villain's sidekick.
Although this film's so confused, it's like maybe it thought this guy was the villain.
Is he still not found the movie?
Nope.
For me to say that this guy kind of looks racist. Like,
Oh yeah.
Dead,
This
his-
movie is racist from top to bottom.
I know, but his design.
Dead.
Like, everyone else looks fine, but him is like,
Dead.
huh?
Dead. His name is literally Master Little.
Master who?
Master
Mr.
Little.
Little.
Huh?
There you go,
I
this is the villain.
wanted to say a joke to quote MST3K with a joke they just did not care, but I think the problem is the opposite. They care too much.
Seagulls even has a monocle in true old-fashioned evil British cartoon villain.
Oh yeah, this guy has made such an impression.
So okay, guys, we just found out what the villain's problem was. His mom never kissed him. His mom never hugged. His parents never
Bro,
hugged
what
him
you're
enough.
Oh god, he's like that. He's the villain of season 4 of Total Drama. One of the characters can read emotions. It's like you weren't held enough as a child.
Also,
So that's
I
probably like that's the reason why he's so messed up in the head.
also didn't even knew
That's
Total
the
Drama as villains.
of Hammerman.
Isn't Total Drama supposed to be a parody of reality shows?
No. Tio, there's like always a main antagonist for each season.
Huh.
That's the next show me and Pedro are gonna be watching.
See,
But
Dwibs,
more-
he's the bad guy. You can tell because he laughs maniacally.
Oh, guys, would it interest you to know that I love. I'll quote TV tropes.
Da, 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 da.
Okay.
Every time it
anyway.
lives.
I'm gonna try and move past this and finish what I was going to say.
Go on.
On the Never Live It Down, its obvious attempt to copycat Disney backfired so spectacularly that the estates of Rodgers and Hammerstein have refused to let any more of their works to ever be adapted into animated films ever again.
But I blame
Wow.
them.
Again, it says something like, you made the guys who made The King and I something based off of a controversial thing blush.
The story,
Congrats.
like I
It is
said,
sad
the
because
story.
Their estate, anyway.
Mhm.
It is sad because there was one. Well, okay, technically it wasn't like here's a fun fact. There actually was a world masterpiece theater version of the story of Sound of Music, and by that I mean the original story, not so much an adaptation of the
okay.
of the musical.
You want to know something better? There's actually a good adaptation of a Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, and that one was made by Disney.
Wow.
She's imagining her husband.
Also, guys, would it surprise you to know that the people of Thailand don't really like this movie?
Gee,
No,
I wonder why.
you
Why?
think?
Yeah.
Although also they don't really like the live action version either.
Well,
yeah,
that's
okay,
not really a
that's
surprise
not-
either.
that's
I
not-
actually have
we
a
already know
question,
that.
Waves, because that was supposed to be my segue. Eventually, another adaptation like happened, I think in 2001, live action literally called Anne and the King. It's the one that I mentioned that has Tom Felton as the child of Anna. But I wonder, I guess Thailand refers to either version, the original one and the more recent one. Waves?
Sorry?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway,
Sorry,
like
I was trying to focus on what the point
Java
was.
answer me on your behalf, don't worry.
fair enough, though. To Dwibs' credit, he was trying to pay attention to the movie, so good on you, Dwibs. But anyway, like I was saying, it's a shame because there was actually a good adaptation made of a Rodgers and Hammerstein musical that doesn't have, disgusting history behind it. And it was released by Disney in 1997. You want to know what that movie is?
Hercules.
No.
Mr. Magoo?
No. What did Rodgers and Hammerstein have to do with either of those properties?
Just tell us what it is.
It was in 1997.
It was the live-action Cinderella movie of that year.
Oh yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting about that one.
My favorite version of it. It has a racially diverse cast and everything, too.
Is that the one where the stepmother almost like tries to embarrass Cinderella by cutting plates with a diamond ring for a washing laundry contest? I know that there's a version of Cinderella that has that.
Jova,
Yes.
have you seen the new Amazon
2021.
I've seen reviews of it, and oh my god, it's
Yeah, it's
awful.
all yours, guys. I'm not touching that one.
What movie?
Cinderella
Cinderella movie.
2021.
Oh yeah, the one that I recommend that we should watch.
Wait. Have you seen the 2021 version, Dej?
Nope, I want us all to suffer.
You know what, Dej? We were going to ask what your pick for a certain film
No,
commentary
please.
is, so I guess that's it.
Oh,
There you
fuck.
go. There you go.
Okay, I'll eventually after we're done.
Oh yeah, interesting thing. There was the same year this film came out, 1999. I mean, there was another version of this story, a live-action one that released the same year, called Anna and the King, which is a live-action
Yeah,
film.
that's the one they kept
Sorry.
mentioning, Jova. Sorry,
Sorry.
did leave, so.
Starring Chow Yun-fat and Jodie Foster.
Yeah, that's the one I kept mentioning, Leaves.
That wasn't very well received either, but whatever.
Like I said, Tom Felton as Anna's kid.
Oh, Draco Mouth? You know
Yeah.
what? He does look like a live-action version of the kid
Back
in
then
this
he was
movie.
still young, remember?
Like I said, he does look like a live-action version of the kid in this movie, so...
Wait. What? He was saying that he helped Lincoln win the Civil War. What?
Ooh,
What the fuck are you even talking about? You
That's-
stupid movie.
it's
Well,
not.
Civil War was a thing in USA, but yeah, what the hell are you doing, movie?
I don't think. Jova, I think Rich has lost the plot. He's totally off his rocker. He's gone. Like he's just.
Also, TV show stuff and nothing. I get what you're going for, but calling this film a Disneyfication of the work of Rodgers and Hammerstein, should it be a Warnerification?
No. It is very much a Disneyfication in that regard. Like,
Hold on, guys. The king just found out that Liu Kang is in love with someone that's not Katana, and that cannot be because he's a big Liu Kang and Katana shipper. So this will not be tolerated.
maybe you shouldn't have given her your necklace, dumbass.
Dishonor! You're supposed to be with Katana. What if now all my fanfiction is no longer canon?
Oh, snap.
And of course, outrageous.
But, Your Majesty, don't throw away all you've done.
End movie, just end.
Sorry, Tio, we still got at least 25 minutes left.
Yeah, it's another thing. The pace at least has been fast, despite not talking about much, but towards the end, it just makes you count every second.
So here's the thing, Dwibs. Rule number 1 of Disneyfication, it doesn't always have to be Disney that does it, but no, this is clearly...
They mean using the Disney formula. That's what they mean.
Yeah, like, it's literally the Disney formula. Also, with them adding on magic to the bout here and there.
And yeah, supposedly he's supposed to whip, but this movie doesn't really have the balls to have a character whipping another
Wait for
character,
it.
so... Yeah.
Oh, the music is getting super tense for nothing.
No!
More combat. Dun,
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 dun, dun, dun,
Dun.
This is the
I
latest
mean-
Mortal Kombat movie.
I mean, Crawler does look like a beardless version of Shang
Man.
Tsung. Why not?
I mean, Dwib says that, and we saw Annihilation.
Annihilation. So this is even worse than Annihilation, Dibs?
Okay.
Annihilation was hilariously bad. This is just boring.
Let me also put it
half
this
the
way. with Annihilation, you can safely put the disclaimer of no real people, where this movie presents fictional characters.
True.
And half the titular cast here.
What?
You know,
What?
the-
Oh wait,
you
wait,
know,
wait, wait,
the
no,
king,
no.
the king's a fucking arsehole.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We'll make our own country in the jungle. Again, I have to ask, movie, what are you doing?
Blackjack and
like I said,
hookers.
Joe, like he's off his rocker. Richard is gone. Like
But-
he's completely off his rocker at this point.
He wasn't even that old. Well, okay, he was older, but I don't think he was as old as he is now.
Jova, implying that you need to be old to officially go nuts.
True.
At this point when it comes to this movie, Jova, he's completely off his rocker. He's completely gone. There's no use trying to reasoning with him at this point.
Thanks, convenient elephants.
Kramahom, what exactly was your plan again?
You'll see. Also, his outfit literally changed from frame to frame. He was wearing his typical outfit before, but now he's back to wearing the tuxedo.
Whoops.
It's Alpha and Omega free all over again. Richard, Richard, when you go into post-production of your movies, you're supposed to examine the movie frame by frame to make sure there's no mistakes. That's the whole point of post-production. You fucking
Don't care.
How?
Seriously, basically, I'm familiar with the infamous animation error in Alpha and Omega free.
Oh, because I don't care about those movies.
Well, let's just say there's a whole. Well, I can tell you that there's an hilarious animation error there that you can always check on YouTube. That clip, that clip is just funny, at least.
So, this is the
For all the wrong
climax
reasons.
of our movie, I guess.
Jesus Christ, this animation is so terrible.
Also, evil snakes.
Oh, it's okay, all his magic. Oh no, what's his plan this time?
The giant spider. No.
It's all mechanical, though.
Hmm. The ancient place of the elephants?
Shere Khan! Oh no! Wait, he turned a mouse into a tiger. I love how even that mouse looks confused.
That's on King's Quest Biologic.
Let's see what Edward's thinking thoughts of all this are.
So here's this animation.
This is not what a gentleman does.
He should be like us British. We just conquest everything.
Ransack and pillage.
And then write in our history books that we were the knights.
Exporting
we were the good
democracy.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Jova. So far, I'm sympathising more with the British than the king of the.
Congratulations, Liv. The
Siam.
movie's propaganda is actually reaching into you.
Damn it.
Because this movie's portrayed the king of Siam as a complete douchebag, yelling at everybody. He even threatened to whip someone to death.
Yes,
That's the
movie.
thing, Debs. That's the thing, Debs. See, in the musical, it makes sense that he wouldn't do that because of his character arc. The problem is that this movie again has no understanding of how character arcs work because, well, like I said, Richard Rich doesn't really understand how these things are supposed to work.
You know, how does Colonel...
Obviously, I say all the things I said in the context of this movie.
No!
Oh, and she died.
And the composer is trying way too hard.
Ha! But you have to also kill the king as well, then.
No, don't you see,
Honey.
without his heir there, because,
An actual
you know,
conservative saying, "I am the future." That's some irony there.
hey, the king came to help.
She's gone. Quick.
The
go,
panther
Elizabeth.
is literally
I was
controlling...
so rushed.
The panther is literally controlling that air balloon like it's a bike.
I don't even know
Movie,
what the fuck
what
is going on.
are you doing?
Again, they don't even know Jova at this point. Also, how are you not dead yet?
Whee!
Not to mention, she's going through the exact same tunnels over and over because we need to recycle the animation.
I must do this, son, so I can properly send her back to Burma to kill her.
That's it. Krala home. Krala home.
Krala home, yeah.
Wah, wah.
Still not funny movie.
Thank heaven.
He did something.
And okay. No.
Yes.
That would not work. In no way.
Pedro.
In no way, no.
Pedro, it's a movie where a panther is activating an air balloon
Also,
and driving
this
it like
CGI
it's a
balloon is so
bicycle.
horrid looking. Yeah, the 2D animation is already bad enough, but the 3D is even worse. Oh.
See, he even hates happy endings.
Wait, the gong was supposed to be a mirror as well?
That was
it's-
apparently how he did his magic. But it's
Because-
not
because-
over yet, guys!
Because Sleeping Beauty, I don't know. So sorry. Because Snow White, I don't know.
Because he's a bad guy. But guys, it's not over yet.
Oh,
Ah, that
no.
face. Seriously, this animation is so putrid.
Yeah.
I wonder Morgan Creek didn't do any other animated films after this.
No. Also, it's a
No.
surprisingly fast balloon. Usually, even when they're, losing air and altitude, they take their sweetest time.
Yeet!
He just yeets the panther like that. I love how the actor performance does not convey at all what the character was doing.
But Mr. Edward is not pleased by this. So it turns out
Funny.
you were the savage behind this.
Well, congrats. You killed him.
Oh no, I totally believe that they're gonna have the balls to kill the king.
Well, I think he died in the original musical. So,
I actually don't know.
That's the thing. That's the problem, Jova. Well, let's just see.
He doesn't die in this, does he?
No.
Like
Wait,
Pedro said, we
hold
do not
on.
have the balls to do it.
Well, the panther called it. He's dead.
Yes.
Thank muchas gracias, Dr. Pantera.
Oh no, the other kids! You were kind of only important for one musical in this whole musical.
I guess at the very least the elephant psychic was useful for the
Well,
climax.
okay. To be fair, it's not like they were the big players either. It is called The King and I for a reason.
Oh, yay!
It's a
he's alive.
miracle! How?
I am so happy.
I can tell you, Louise.
See, but here's what happens in the original musical. What happens is after Anna helps the king see the error of his ways. I'm not addressing problems there because we've already addressed this. The point is, Anna learns that the king is dying, and he passes on his title to Prince Liu Kang, or rather, he's not Liu Kang in the original, but he's Liu Kang here.
He's firstborn.
And then he issues a proclamation that ends slavery and states that all subjects will no longer bow down to him. So basically, happy days for everybody in Siam, basically. The king, so after that he dies. and he convinces Anna to stay there and blah blah blah. So basically,
For some reason, he lives in this version.
Basically what happens is the king, at the very least, before he dies, he manages to redeem himself by basically, overturning all of his crap ruling stuff and blah blah blah. But in here, yeah, fuck that.
He lives.
This is actually my problem here.
Yeah.
You're not even following the plot of the musical. Seriously, why even bother having the songs in here? Oh, that's right, because you want to leech off the popularity of the musical.
If you were really going to do an adaptation that doesn't pay mind to the musical, at least have it be an adaptation that's more historically accurate. I could forgive it not paying mind to the musical if that was the reason, but no. If anything, this thing goes farther off the deep end with stuff.
This one is even more insulting than the musical is.
So it's insulting to fans of the musical. It's insulting to historians. Don't even mention this in Thailand. Who was
Which
this
begs
for?
the question. Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to ask. Richard, who exactly did you make this movie for?
Well, not the people of Thailand, but at least they hated this film.
Seriously, who was this movie for exactly? Little kids? Oh, I get it. It's one of those movies that parents put on to shut up their little kids for 90 minutes, I guess.
Except, I wonder if it would even really work at that these days. Like now, oh right, let's see where the bad guy is now. Scooping elephant poop.
Ha 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 ha.
And now he is Master Little's sidekick.
Oh, there you go. Now he actually is kind of the villain.
Oh wait, hold on.
Oh no.
His last
his last tooth. That's the running. There you go, everybody.
Oh,
the running gag has officially concluded. Yay.
I care so much about it.
What an odd running gag.
It had a conclusion and an arc. Can this movie end, please? Stop acting seductive to each other, please. She's married.
Oh.
Okay, you know what? That line could have been funny in a better production. Here, it's just irritating. It was before we had our character development and all that jazz.
Wait, you had character development in this movie? You had it in
Yes.
the musical, not so much in here.
Hey, the king became a better guy. That's character development.
He
That's
did.
The problem is he did not. The writing just turned
Hey,
him
he
around.
finally gave her her house.
Hooray.
Hooray.
I'll just play the finale
you.
number and be done with it.
Fuck you, movie. See, here's the thing. The thing about the musical is that in the musical, Anna and the king become really good friends. And by the way, there's no romantic tension whatsoever in the musical between these two. For the record.
And again, this movie acknowledged that she's married. So what the hell are they even doing?
I don't even know. Also, it's quite charming and funny how the king doesn't know how to dance.
Huh.
This movie is even more insulting than I remember it being. Granted, the last time I saw it was as a kid, and I guess I was kind of fine with it back then because I did not know all the messed up stuff behind this entire thing.
And even then, okay, even if you take away the musical and the historical insults that this movie has, even if you just judge it as a story, it doesn't work. Nothing about this thing works.
The
It's
character
very
development
basic
is
and poorly
non-existent.
executed.
Yeah, the character development is non-existent, for Christ's sake. The villains' motivations and plans are so lame. Seriously, dragon that gets defeated by whistling, statues that get defeated by a roar. He finally gets some magic going good, but that gets defeated by a hot air balloon.
Right.
And then he literally does himself in by cackling maniacally in the face of the British who are there to arrest him.
Writing 101. If your villain is an okay, no movie.
If your villain is a what, sorry?
Okay.
What?
Writing
the
101.
hell?
Hey Richard, writing 101. If your villain is a complete incompetent moron who can succeed at anything, there's no tension in your story. There's zero. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, unless it's a really wacky comedy or something.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
That would be the only way that could work.
This is the problem with Warner Brothers trying to be Disney animation. They still have their Warner Brother isms, as in, the slapstick and comedy, which is great and all, but you need to learn to mesh it well into a Disney bout here and there. This did not do it well.
Ugh.
That's all.
Just end the movie. Just end.
Any minute now.
Even the music has to stretch itself out to end.
Okay. Oh, remember
Oh
when
yeah,
you-
I'm sure these people would love the fact that this piece of shit was dedicated to them. Like,
Okay, let me check and see if there's an after-credits scene.
Barbara Streisand.
Barbara
course.
Streisand.
Well, of course! Like, she was the big singer of the time. Of course you get Barbara Streisand to attract an audience.
Ooh.
So, I'm curious, Pedro.
yes, Jova.
How is it that a lot of people involved with Rankin-Bass, including people who worked on this movie, came to migrate over to Studio Ghibli?
Because they realized they were in a crap studio, so they needed to get some
Migrate.
Well, mind
migrate.
you, they only migrated after Rankin-Bass went kaput, but still, though, it's like, well, did everyone just collectively go, hey, guys, there's a studio over in Japan, let's go to that and get on that bandwagon? Like, it's just...
How one of the writers of this went on to do the King's Speech is a mystery.
Like I said, Webs, it's a good demonstration of what I keep saying. This guy has proven that he's a capable writer, but clearly Richard Rich didn't allow him to do much of anything with this movie. It's just like, ugh. Like,
Is there a post-credit scene?
of all the
I'm
Richard Rich
checking.
movies,
Anna will not be invited to the Justice
Hold on.
League initiative.
Are you
this
sure
might
to
just
you?
be... Sorry.
Are you sure about that to you?
I'm still
No.
keeping the movie online, obviously, if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this movie
there
did
is
not
not.
have it.
Close it.
No, there is not. Of all the Richard Rich movies, this is quite possibly his worst, and that's saying something.
Wow. Well, you know what? Yeah, because it has that extra baggage of the whole
Yeah.
Historical
The extra
inaccuracy stuff.
The extra baggage. I mean, Alpha. Okay. Swan Princess 5 also has some baggage in it, but it's not as much as in this one.
Wait, Swan Princess 5 had some historical stuff?
No, it did not. It's just that, let's just say, Jova, the way
There
that
was
the
a
way,
Swan Princess 5?
Oh, yeah, they're
they're
working
still
on...
being made. They're still Richard Rich is still making Swan Princess movies.
We're barely halfway through with those lives, so just letting you know.
Actually, no, not even halfway through. Like, isn't there, like, 11 at this point?
Yes, and well, actually, no, there's 10, but there's an 11th one being made right now.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you were saying?
I was saying that. Well, here's the thing, Jova. Me and Shira will get into that when we do that movie. But let's just say that movie does not know how handling a child who has just gone with a huge trauma.
Oh.
let's just
Also,
say-
Saigon.
Let's just say that movie will make you go eek.
Also, of course, it's an anime. It's a movie at the end of the '90s, so of course the credit song has to be basically based around Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On."
Obviously. Well, to be fair, even Square tried. To...
Yeah, I know, right? It was like, wow, literally everyone and their mother were doing this, so no matter where you were going.
You know what, to be fair, I do get the mentality of it, like, well, have this cool, up and stellar, more modern-sounding song happen at the credits that helps give a theme of
And
what's
the question
been going
is,
on.
Jova, how much of that was genuine and much was trying to desperately win an Oscar?
Okay, I'll say this. The Mask of Zorro did it legit well.
Oh my god, that one has it won too?
Yes, during the credits though. Everything
Oh.
else is just
No,
score.
during the credits, I get it, it's part of the course, but I
Yes.
mean the mere idea of having one.
Well,
Alright.
well, like I said, at least it was. Well, okay. To be fair, it was based off of a song sung in the movie. Just it has more of a pop.
But
Version to it.
but yeah, we're digressing.
Final thoughts, everybody.
Mind if I
Okay.
go first?
Go on.
Go on, Theo.
I don't have much to say anyway. This movie is awful. I would say something like I said for Ghost Dad and say that I don't want to see this ever again. But honestly, the insipidness and tastelessness of this movie are so much that, again, it's not even I will forget about it in T minus, but I'll just not care at all. Again, it's so terrible. It really is.
Yep.
No matter what angle you go, look at it. The animation, the music. I'm sorry, even the actual songs are not that great. I'm sure Rodgers and Hammerstein, poured all their usual passion when creating the project, but I'm sorry, it just doesn't work for me. Even as a story in general, like again, I don't.
Well, hold
Hold
on.
on.
Allow me to. Have you actually? Because this thing, you haven't seen the musical. I can tell that these
I've
songs
seen
work a lot better in the
I've seen
musical.
the 50-60 movie, the old black and white movie. I saw it once actually.
Well, that's not really the same thing, though. Like, if you watch the musical, the original musical, the songs actually work because the context makes them work. But go on.
But again, like there are a couple of movies that might fall into similar trappings. For example, in a couple of years after this, I think, or still around the same time, The Road to El Dorado will be released, which has something similar to this when it comes to depict, the pre-Columbian civilization of the teacher of El Dorado, But you can tell that at least in there they try to be at the very least a bit more tasteful in handling things. It's pretty much clear that Richard Rich, Warner Bros., and Rankin Bass had their own specific idea in mind, and we don't even stop thinking for a second and say, maybe we should actually try to consult with the actual people of, in this case, Thailand. Nah, not really. Let's just go with that. At the end of the 90s, still with stereotypes that would have fit World War II. Great. But that's pretty much it for me. I'm actually curious, is this even on HBO Max?
Maybe.
But whatever.
I've seen
Joker isn't anymore.
From what I've looked into too, it's available on Amazon, and that's basically it.
Oh, cool, I guess.
Why are we gonna add the Rooster Teeth stuff to HBO?
Well, Dweebs managed to see this on iTunes, so there is that. I forgot about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is a terrible movie, terrible adaptation for a story that deserves a bit better. Next.
Okay, yeah, this is a horrible movie. I mean, the plot doesn't even really start till like halfway through, if that. Our supposed heroes are either bland in the case of the Eye, or a complete douchebag like the King. In fact, he was so much of a douchebag, I actually thought he was the villain.
And how about the ever helpful British in this movie?
Oh yeah, they were in the movie.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, that's the thing, Joe. But they left such little impact. I forgot they were in the movie.
That's the thing. You raged whenever they were brought into the movie, though.
All right, carry on.
Well,
Go on.
yeah, what little that was.
Go on.
What else? I mean, the music's fine. I mean, it was basically taking music that it's music taken from somewhere else. So what else are you gonna do about that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the actual supposed villain. Okay, yeah, he's a scummy guy, but I'd argue he's less scummy than the the supposed half of the supposed co-protagonist. again, in the context of the movie, this seriously, the king in this movie is horrible. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, what lesson did he learn by the end? It's bad to whip people. Like,
See, here's the
Also,
thing.
it's bad to take out their balloons.
Here's the thing to do with in the original musical, the king is also a horrible person who does all that stuff. The difference is that the Anna is right there to call him out on it, and she then gets removed. But eventually, Anna manages to make him see reason, and by the time he dies, he redeems himself by basically freeing all of his people from slavery. You know,
that represents another problem with the film as well. It's not a very good adaptation of the musical because it flat out cuts stuff out.
yeah.
And as a result, a lot of the characterization gets horribly mangled. Like the characters that aren't just window dressing, or ones that have like no personality whatsoever, are complete douchebags. And yet we're supposed to be happy for him when he supposedly redeems himself at the end. But as far as I can tell, he hasn't.
See, here's the thing. The only thing he supposedly does to redeem himself in here is to save the Liu Kang's girlfriend. But the problem, which is nowhere near enough as a good payoff, like, let me remind everybody, in the original musical, he literally abolishes slavery before he dies. You know? In here, he just saves one person.
But Pedro, he's learned because on his bed he says something about letting his son rule proper and whatnot, and he'll let his son marry the girl he wants, and it's
that reminds me of actually.
What?
Go on.
That reminds me of that reminds me of that episode of Doctor Who, the most recent one, the first episode of the first season of the revived show, where the Slovene, who's killed and slaughtered numerous people, either on screen or otherwise, is supposedly reformed, or at least tries to claim they're reformed, by saying, "I saved one person," but the main difference is naturally the Doctor doesn't really believe her. Okay, he believes he spared the one person, but he doesn't believe that she's automatically reformed just because she saved somebody. And bear in mind, that was one of the weaker episodes from the first series. Like, I've already mentioned the music, the animation as well. Oh god, I mean, for the most part, it's fine, but then there are those really unacceptable moments for a big production like this, where it's like they forgot to. Half the time, it's like they forgot to animate the in-betweens. Like literally, the guy. That bit where the guy just like skips one frame to the other.
This movie really got to you. I'm surprised.
Well, when that's a fade show when it does a lot of rage-inducing stuff, like having a botched take on horrible protagonist. That's pretty bad. When we're supposed to be rooting for the guy to get better, but the movie doesn't put in any effort.
Not really, no.
Now in terms of what I think of this in the pantheon of Richard Rich movies, well, I'd say it's better than any of the Alpha and Omega sequels he directed. Although it's worse than, say, Black Cauldron. And bear in mind, Black Cauldron was the film that almost killed Disney.
Yeah. All right. You done, Libs?
Yeah. This movie sucks, and it's a good job Warner Brothers had the Iron Giant that year, because otherwise their animation output would have been.
I'll go next. Yeah, as a musical, this movie is heartbreaking. Like, it doesn't even get the format of a musical well. Oh, sure, yeah, the songs are there, but they do sometimes progress the narrative, but rarely, if ever, do they fit the context. It's baffling. I guess the only time it does fit the context is the ending song, where it's literally just about singing, dancing, and how they'll have to say goodbye to one another. And even still, it's not like Anna's leaving the country like she was in the original. I guess it's more like just about her leaving the palace, and she now has her own house, even though they can literally just see each other whenever they want to, so... Yeah. This movie this is the kind of movie that thinks that it's a big deal, but it ain't. It ain't worth crap. It thinks it's saying these amazing things, when in reality it's saying jack diddles and squat. The
How
villain
sad is it, Jova? How
Yeah.
sad is it that Peter Griffin's stage adaptation of The King and I?
Yeah, I was wondering when you actually were gonna mention it again, since you brought it up in The Sound of Music.
Yeah, it is sad. But, I mean, seriously though, the villain is one of the worst I've seen ever. He is, well, again, he's like this movie. He thinks he's a big deal, but he ain't worth Jack Dills and Squad. Heck, it doesn't even seem like they arrested him so much as just demoted him to being sidekick of his own sidekick, who beat him up in the end. Like, He makes dragons that are defeated by whistling. He makes statues that are defeated by roaring. Like, I think that in of itself just says so much. Again, I have to ask the two questions I asked a lot during this movie. What are you doing, movie? And who is this for? Seriously. It's not for historians. It's not for musical lovers. It's not for fans of
It's not even for fans of animation, because the animation is so putrid.
Heck, even kids would probably get bored with this because it's just non-stop randomness at some point. Characters aren't endearing in the slightest. Like, just... ugh. And the animation doesn't stay that it works, like, because there's so many points where we literally saw frame to frame, like they're flipping a page animation. Jesus. Oh boy, I can't believe I'm saying this. This is some of Richard Rich's worst work. Like, and don't get me wrong.
Something.
Don't get me wrong. He has made stuff that's uglier than this, but even a lot of the Alpha and Omega movies told a better story than this. What the hell? So yeah, at the end of the day, 1999's The King and I is a downright blunder. Next.
Dej?
I honestly cannot process what I watched. Like, we spent the last 90 minutes on this thing. I'm just like,
Wow, that bad.
this is such a boring movie. I know I say this a lot, but nothing happens for like a good chunk of it. What there's too many sidekicks that are supposed to be the comic relief, but it's like, I don't care. You're not funny. This isn't entertaining at all. Then there's some music, which I am pretty sure it sounded much better in the play, but because of how boring this whole thing was, it didn't feel earned or entertaining. It just felt like obligatory, like I was being punished for something.
Wow. This may be one of the harshest critiques I've heard you give to anything I've heard you commentate on.
Are we ignoring silver screen or no?
You know what?
By the time we make this public, you probably will not have.
You know what? Even counting silver screen, this is quite possibly some of the most harsh bouts I've seen you give, Dej.
I just don't care. It's that bad. If Freddy Got Fingered wasn't a thing, this would have been the worst movie I've seen all year.
Wow, there you go.
Like, I thought it was gonna be a fun riffing on it. It's like, this isn't even fun to make fun of. It's just bad.
Like I said, there's plenty of riffing material. It's good for riffing on. That doesn't mean it's good itself.
Yeah, but it's like, even riffing on it isn't fun. It's just... Why is the animation so cheap?
Okay, it's probably fun for riffing on if you know what you're getting into. I had a good idea of what we were getting into, partially because I've seen this movie and because I'm well aware of the reputation this movie has nowadays. But if you're not aware, yeah, this is going to be a rough ride.
Well, Deji, it was $25 million. By animation standards, yes, cheap.
Okay, true. But
But I mean, but that's the thing though. I swear I've seen films with less budget than this animated
Yeah.
better, or competently for that matter.
and from what you guys have been telling me, this isn't historically accurate at all. This just feels like the Pocahontas effect.
Yeah.
Look-
G-Dej, are you honestly trying to assume that the movie with a giant dragon is not historically accurate?
I mean, taking creative liberties here and there is fine, but like the plot just didn't feel. What were you trying to accomplish here?
Yep.
Like I asked, what are you doing, movie? What are you doing?
The Jova, why ask questions to which you know there won't be an answer?
What is lost if it's not worth preserving?
Is that what Damon Lindelof said by the time he finished writing the show?
Yes.
Oh god.
All right.
I know. Okay. Obviously, this was decades ago, but was this one of the reasons why we didn't have much 2D animation?
Well, from Warner
in
Brothers
movies?
trying to be Disney, yes.
This was a big problem where a lot of animated. Remember that this was 1999. By this, you know what movie also came out in this year? Toy Story 2. One of the big things about Hollywood is that the Hollywood morons, let's face it, looked at the box office and thought, ever since Pixar came about with Toy Story 1, CG films have been making a lot more money than 2D films. So clearly, we should just make only 3D films.
It didn't
was
help
the-
that a lot of the Disney Renaissance was starting to use 3D and to pretty great effects. But you want to know what made things really worse? Disney themselves started to fail again, starting with 1999, because that's pretty much the start of the experimental era, or as some other people call it, the second Disney Dark Age. It began with Fantasia 2000, and would only get worse and worse, with a lot of their animated productions blundering, not necessarily due to the films themselves, but Disney making some pretty dumb decisions, like pitting Treasure Planet against Harry Potter. Hope
Which
they
is a
wouldn't
mistake
repeat
they will
that
never
again.
repeat again.
Oh,
So-
wait.
Like, okay, let me put it like this. 2D animation, I feel, just got dealt the worst hand ever. It had a series of bad luck, which made it not make money. And in Hollywood, who likes to think in the short term, yeah, it had to die.
You know, okay. I'm gonna throw a wild take. I'm all for 2D animation to come back in theaters. However, I want people to come out and say, "Please support good movies whenever there's a 2D animation."
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't care. I don't care how desperate you are. If we get like a bad film, even though it's 2D, it's still bad. I mean, hell, hell for those that aren't convinced one way or the other, you could end up inadvertently saying to them, "Oh, so these guys are just so desperate they'll accept anything thrown their way." That's sad.
Now
Anyway,
even Japan is going for that, where the last 3 Ghibli films were box office bombs, and Japan now seems to gearing a lot more towards 3D films as well. So even
Although, from
Japan
what
is
I
now
hear,
going through its own equivalent.
and yet from what I hear, Earwig and the Witch was not that popular despite trying to catch up with them trends.
Well, Jova, you know what? Do you know what I think is stupider than putting a 2D animated film against Harry Potter?
What?
Putting any film, I mean, yeah, I know, pandemic, but putting any film on TV first, then putting it in cinemas.
Wait, they did that with Earwig and the Witch?
Yes, that
Yeah,
is.
they put it on NHK, then it was in cinemas a bit afterwards.
That you pretty much have lost if you put it on TV before putting it to theater. Like,
NHK was a co-producer apparently, but still.
oh god.
That was the cost they had to get that funding, it seems. All right, Dej, go on.
Yeah, screw this movie.
Okay, Pedro.
I barely remember anyone's name besides Anne. The king is. I get it.
It's
Not
Nana.
ever. Saying unlikable feels unfair. He's not endearing, or I'm not interested enough to see where his character goes throughout the whole film.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What a mediocre piece of garbage. I am sorry that was rude, but Jesus Christ.
Oh no! By all means, it's a travesty film that's extending a bout of biased history, and
Don't
it doesn't
worry,
even
Dej.
do
Nobody
anything
likes this
good with
movie.
it.
This is the second movie in a row where I've seen with Pedro and Jehovah where it feels like nothing happens for a good chunk of it.
Oh, are you referring to Pokemon Heroes?
Yes.
What about Tron Central Park? That's another one.
I said in a row.
He's talking
back to
about the
back.
ones in a
Okay.
row.
All right. As for me, Liu Kang didn't end up with Katana. 0 out of 10. There you go.
Wait. Hold on. Maybe the girl was Katana just in another life. I guess you could say she looks like Katana's design from
Free.
Defenders of the Realm.
Anyway, yeah. To be a bit more, yeah, the movie sucks balls. It doesn't work as a remake of the musical. It doesn't work as a historical piece. It doesn't work as a movie on its own. Nothing about it works. It's terrible. Everything about it's terrible. The music comes across as terrible because of the terrible way it's used, and the animation is so bad. The story is non-existent. The character development is all kinds of what. It makes this movie is a baffling thing. Like even. Oh my god.
What did they
It's
get
so
right? That's an easier question to ask.
Richard, just retire at this point.
He's not, because Swan Princess and the Swan Princess movies are apparently making enough money for Sony to keep him around. Thanks, Sony.
Whatever.
What?
The point.
I guess they have to use that to buy the film profits somehow.
Clearly, what they should have done. Clearly, what we should do is make a proper, full-blown remake of Peter Griffin's adaptation of King and I. I am an automaton nuclear neo-humanoid android. You may call me Anna. Anyway, yeah, that was the King and I, 1999. Hopefully, one day we'll do the musical so we can wash this crap out of our mouths. It's still gonna have baggage. Don't get me wrong, but at the very least, it's gonna be a good movie. There's that at least.
See you for whatever we do next.
See ya.
Yeah.